Hey everybody, how's it going? We are back on the Foundry reviews today. It is I, Sly, and today I have Ken and John joining me for another review of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 3, Power Broker. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. I'm ready for this review. I'm ready.
Yeah, pretty
Awesome.
excited. We were kind of wrong, or at least I was kind of wrong. I thought this was show gonna kind of like keep spiraling, but hey, it was actually pretty good.
Spiraling.
Yeah,
Not spiraling.
out of control. It started to get a little better. I didn't mind this episode. I actually got introduced to one of my favorite characters of the series so far.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
careening to the cliffside before this episode, I think.
Yeah, I think we all had our doubts a bit. Like our ratings of the last episode were not great, even mine, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
positive about these things, so that says a bit. But this one was a decent episode. But yeah, where do we start off on this one again? I can't remember.
I just
Well,
I think it started right at the beginning about the boyos want to meet, or just Falcon and Winter Soldier wanting to meet up with Baron Zemo, because they're just at a loss. They're like, well, what do you do now? And like, I guess we could give up, or we could go see Baron Zemo. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a fat minute since we've seen him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
because
let's
that's
pay him
exactly
a
what the
visit.
last episode was. They're like, "Oh, we got to do something," and he's like, "I know what you're thinking," and they're like, "Yes,
Yeah.
let's do that thing." The bad idea.
Yeah. It was a pretty dramatic scene of them like fucking going to the prison and stuff like that. Where was the prison? In Germany or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Germany because I remember that. Yeah, the subtitles and stuff. Anyways, so they go to this prison. It was like super dramatic. They had like some opera music or something playing. I don't remember, classical maybe. Yeah, there was just like it's kind of like a Hannibal Lecter vibe kind of thing they were trying to do, like him sitting in the dark reading a book and stuff. And
It
it
was definitely
was
supposed to be tense, which I think makes sense
He's,
because, like, the last time those two characters were in a room together, it did not go well.
oof.
mm-mm.
So, like, I
Yeah,
understand.
and he
Like, I think
started
they
with the code words again.
exactly like he was like, "I'm gonna try this anyways,"
Yeah,
even
that
though
was that was interesting. He was like broke out the code words immediately, and I'm like, okay, well, I see you're
still
still
a
a piece
dick.
of shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Falcon had to wait outside, and it was Bucky and Baron. They had a little conversation, just kind of bullshitted for a minute, and Baron made the. He's like, hey, you must be pretty desperate to come to me, for the Hydra to solve your problems. He's like, eh. And then Bucky realized he was pretty right, so they end up leaving. He's like, "Hey, Falcon, what if he broke out of prison and goes through an entire like hypothetical like that was extremely easy at if like Baron
Yeah,
Zemo broke out of prison? It just seemed really fucking easy, especially
I
like
mean, like, he's not like a super powered individual or anything, but he's got connections. So I feel like you'd have a bit tighter security of all the places. It was kind of interesting to watch, but
mhm.
like in this like the grand universe of Marvel, it seemed like the security was kind of lacking. And maybe that's because it was some random German prison and not some high intensity like shield prison or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Or the prison where Sam was in at the end of Civil
Yeah.
War.
What is it? The
Yeah.
raft, right?
Oh
They were in the
Jesus
raft, like
Christ.
Yeah,
underwater. Like,
That's some
geez.
face off shit right there, man.
that's
Like
a
my
real
lord.
prison right there. No one gets in.
So yeah, then he just like goes through a simple thing, and Baron Zemo just simply just like somehow ended up in a bathroom and beat up a guard, took a fucking outfit and walked out, I guess. And then he meets up, and there's a big argument, like, "Hey, you're Baron Zemo," and it's like, "Hey, you're Avenger guys," and they're like, "We should work together." They're not as happy about it as I kind of went over it, but Falcon was like, "All right, but don't kill anybody or whatever the fuck, I don't know." And they're like, "All right, cool." And where do they go from there? Was it like, did you like straight up just like, "All right,
Madripoor.
yeah"? They're like, "Come to my plane." He's like, "All right, bet. Let's go on a plane." And then he's like, just has a plane, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
and
got a
then they
collection
start
of
to
cars and everything.
Yeah, this dude's like, he's got
he
fucking
was loaded, dude.
bank.
Freaking loaded.
Yeah.
It was a cool little
But they
I'm
thing.
happy they showed his mask.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was kind of cool how they show very specifically like him grabbing his mask, and I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool because OG
yeah,
kind of comics, Baron,
Family heirloom.
I feel like a lot of people had that issue when the last time we saw Baron in the MCU, how he wasn't very comic book like esque.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
more of a name drop. Like, if you knew the comics and you heard his name, you'd be like, "Oh, I know who that is." But like anyone else, like he doesn't look like a supervillain. He just looks like a guy. So it kind of like you're like, who is this dude? But with a mask like that, you're like, oh, okay, he's a villain now.
Yeah.
Now we can tell.
I like Baron Zemo a lot. I feel like he's been one of the more like subtle villains like in the MCU, and that's something Marvel doesn't really care about being a subtle. So that was kind of cool. I like him a lot. I like Baron Zemo. Um, I like his just kind of like, oh, let me use my mind over like fucking brute force, you know. So, and I feel like there hasn't been a villain like that in a fat minute either.
Yeah, he definitely hit you with like the psychological warfare because they have some very interesting discussions on the plane while they're going, like talking about superpowered individuals. I think at some point, and like he just it seems like he's trying to like keep bringing up those types of comments during like their interactions to like I don't know start to wear down like
Yeah, I'd get them
probably
thinking about it and doubt themselves.
yeah, Sam
Yeah.
specifically, because he seems a lot more open to these types of other things. Like Bucky's very much like, nope, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. Like you're not gonna get to me. But Sam's he's more open, I guess. So he seems to be like willing to hear, um, Zemo out a little bit on the things he's saying, which is interesting.
Yeah. That's what I do. Like
Oh,
I
really
do
good.
like that character interaction. It's pretty dang neat between those. But yeah, apparently we're going to Indonesia, right?
Madripoor,
Yeah,
a
some
made up Marvel country.
is it really made up?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they're just on a bridge and they're like, "All right, we need an outfit." And they're just wearing a goofy outfits. They're just wearing goofy outfits, all dressed up, wearing a bunch of leather. And Falcon is supposed to be a pimp. Winter Soldier is supposed to be like Baron Zemo's guard dog. And they're like, all right, well, we're gonna go to the rough side of town. Except the rough side of town is full of fucking some like Lambos and shit. People like driving around and shit. Like really nice car, really well dressed and stuff. And some like
Like a modern pirate fortress.
yeah, beautiful like shots, like just everything was really good scenes and just really good just directing a lot and showing off the city. It was like walking into Night City, like you starting up Cyberpunk. That's what this area looked like. It was really
Yeah, you
cool.
really get the aesthetic. Like they really, really successfully make you think of like what kind of environment you're actually
Yeah,
in.
like this is the
It's really
underground.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Well, that
sure.
must be why my Disney Plus decided to crash at that exact moment.
Really?
I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
It's too underground.
Yeah, but I really like the area. I thought it was pretty fucking cool. Reminded me a lot of like Cyberpunk, and
Yeah, definitely.
it's just randomly like they just go into a bar and like, hey, it's crazy. Like people are walking around with, like M16s and they just like have like automatic weapons just walking around and like, okay, like literally no laws anywhere. And they made that very clear. They're like, oh, like this used to be like a pirate fortress with no laws, and it's kind of the same nowadays.
Yeah, it was a very once they get in that bar though, it gets very, very tense very fast. I thought it was kind of funny because they're undercover. Sam's looking like a pimp, which I actually did learn. I think in the comics, like it's very hinted at that he was a pimp, but never said straight out.
Yeah, name
Like
that con there. Yeah.
before he came like Falcon. So I thought that was funny.
That is
Um,
interesting.
but at the bar, like he's supposed to be this smiling tiger guy, I think, right? And and like he's trying to say like the least possible stuff because he's like not trying to like give away his cover.
Hmm.
But they're like, oh hey, what like the bartender's like, to some degree he's like, hey, what's up? The usual. And he's like, yeah, the usual or something. He gives him this drink with like a snake heart or something in it, and like he's like, I don't know, dude.
Man,
And
he
has
straight
to
up
drink it.
pulls a snake out of the middle of this bar, and he's like, "All right,
I
let me
know.
cut out a fresh snake heart for you." And I'm like, "What the fuck,
I
dude?"
think that's like an actual thing though. Like that's like it's not something they made up. I'm pretty sure that's an actual thing. And like
Yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting detail.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. And then I don't know. He's like, "Oh, I want to meet this person." Someone pops up next to him. Is like, "Hey, you're not allowed here, Baron Zemo." And then there was a big fight. And they're like, "Actually, you are allowed here. Let's go talk to the big boss." And then it all
Oh, and he pretends to have control over freaking Winter Soldier.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's
attack.
one of my favorite parts of the episode.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know why, but I really like that dynamic a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like he's very invested in this now. He's like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna do what I have to do to keep the cover, even if it's beat up a bunch of guys. well, because I mean he's better, but he's not gonna like kill them. Although he did break rule number 2, which is don't hurt anyone. So
Yeah, at least he doesn't have to go check in with his parole anymore, right? With his therapist.
yeah,
So,
Right.
um, yeah. Then yeah, that is a pretty neat dynamic. Like kind of Falcon's just watching. He's like, "God damn, dude!" And it almost looked like for a second, Winter Soldier, after he beats some ass like all over the bar, almost looked like he was about to be like, "Well, I missed that," like it was just like, "Holy
Yeah.
shit."
yeah.
That was his therapy, man.
For real, like it looked like he was enjoying himself once again. Like, oh, it's been too long since I beat the living shit out of somebody.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I think Zemo even says that. It's like, wow, he got right back into that really quickly.
Slipped into old habits comfortably. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, holy shit.
it just kind
But
of shows how much progression Bucky really hasn't made, but how easily he could just kind of slip back, or like, I don't know, like maybe it's a bit of a like to highlight some internal like conflict for with Bucky, saying like, oh, like how close he is to him just being a mercenary, like just to kill innocent people once again or something like that. How easy it is.
right, yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah.
But
Is it just me, or does his combat stance when he was in that Winter Soldier vibe for Zemo look a lot different than all of his other action sequences in the show so far?
I haven't really seen a lot of action sequences, really. Just with like, it was like the one where they're on the trucks, and then the one flashback, I think. I'm not completely sure.
Well, the
though.
flashback, I mean, the flashback, he's legit, Winter Soldier. It reminded me of this one, but the truck stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, he looks nerfed.
Yeah, you think so? Think they're nerfing
Like
him?
he's not trying or something. But when
Yeah,
he becomes
like,
Winter Soldier, he's like really trying to beat someone up.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he could be like holding himself back in a sense.
Maybe. That
Or
could
you-
be interesting.
You think he's doing it, or you think the show's doing it, like as an error?
I want to say that he's doing it and the show's not doing it as an error, but at the same time, I mean,
Is the show that smart?
I'm not sure yet. That's the thing. Yeah. I don't want to give him
No,
too
that's
much
smart.
credit.
Yeah, for real. They're gonna
That's
listen
so
to this and like, actually, that's a good fucking idea. Let's do that.
Oh,
we
dude,
should
this is
go
my
for
guy.
reshoots.
Yeah, then they meet with the big boss, and the big boss dies, and everyone gets a gat, and they're like, all right, let's get out of here. And then there's just a massive text sent out to every person on the streets, and like, oh, big money if you get that fool. And, like, if you kill the people who killed this person, who killed the big boss, which is the big boss also revealed, like, hey, there's this scientist that you should go hit up if you're trying to get some super serum or whatever. And they're like, all right, bet. And then that person dies. And then they're like being chased on the street by like 3 people on a motorbike. Then pop, pop, pop. And it's just out of fucking nowhere. Sharon Carter shows up. She's like, "Hey, it's me, Sharon Carter." And
Yeah,
I'm
and
here
then
to save
everything
you.
just stops. I
Yeah.
don't. That
I
I think
know.
that pulled me out of it
I
so hard.
hated
'Cause I was
that.
like, what? There's this huge tense. Like, oh, dude, they just killed the person, and this mass text just got sent out. Everyone like bounty on their heads, go get them. And like this whole place is an outlaw underground area. Like, why would she just show up and then everything stops? Unless she is a bigger boss too. Like she's even higher.
What if
up.
she's the power broker?
Right? No, I mean maybe. Like,
Oh,
what if she's
fuck.
like somehow really deeply involved and they don't
Oh,
know?
fuck.
but
We
everyone's
might have.
too
Oh,
afraid to fight
shit,
her.
Ken.
Oh, shit.
That's
Ken.
the only explanation. Nothing else.
that
makes
would be
sense.
a big letdown for me.
Oh,
Yeah, I have.
shit.
I've seen some other theories about who the power broker is, including her, which is kind of a stretch. But I don't know. That's the only thing story or like in that scene that makes sense. Because otherwise, it's just like why
Well,
did they
who killed
stop
the Selby?
shooting?
Who killed the Selby girl? The
I
one
don't think
boss.
anyone knows.
I don't
No one
know.
knows.
Had to be Sharon Carter then. She probably did it.
Maybe, dude.
I
That would be
wanted to
weird.
think that, but like also the guardian angel that like saved their ass. If that was her, dude, she jumped down like 3 flights of stairs in less than 3 seconds.
Then
I don't know what the hell happened. I think someone else killed the Selby woman and then rescued them, and then Sharon Carter just came out of nowhere. Unless Sharon Carter's got all these connections and like goons that take shots for her, which
Maybe
goes
maybe
back
she's
to the
given herself the power. Maybe she has taken the serum. She's the power broker. She took the serum. Now she's superpowered. She took that person out because she was about to say too much.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it could be
And
like
I
a
don't know.
kind of a Boba Fett kind of thing right there.
You got me thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're starting to get a bit
Oh
into the
fuck,
weeds with that theory,
you
but
got
I
me,
thought I
Ken.
thought it would be interesting. I feel like that would be really cool,
Yeah, well,
and
they did
like that would
mention
throw me for a loop.
at the bar. We forgot to say this that they mentioned this person named the Power Broker who does. That's the person who doesn't like Baron Zemo, and he was trying to go for the person under that, and he's like, "Oh, I never met the Power Broker before, but they're the top biggity boss here."
Yep,
And
yep.
then Sharon Carter's like, "All right, come with me, nerds." And then she's like, "Here's my giant penthouse with a bunch of real art for no reason." And they're like, "Okay." And she's like, "Here's a bunch of clothing that you guys can fit into that you guys, I definitely have your sizes." And they're like, "Okay." And she's like, "And here's a giant party that's going to happen. So help yourself around all this like real prestigious art. And everyone has a drink in their hand." And they're like, "Okay."
Okay, like wow,
That-
you've been busy here, outside of the law because the United States abandoned you or whatever because what when they helped Captain America back get his shit
Yeah.
back in the day, I think that was why they got kicked out or like she's enemy of the state, I guess.
I'm not totally sure. I mean, like, I
Change.
think Marvel forgot about it, and then like
So
that's her
they made it
that's her
lazy.
problem. Yeah, that's her problem. That's why they like wrote it in. They wrote their mistake in of like, "Oh, we forgot about Sharon Carter." I'm like, "Okay, well, I just write in that America forgot about her." I'm like, "All right, makes sense." And that's her problem is that like, "Oh, America forgot about me," like literally everyone forgot about Sharon Carter. Fuck. Like the writers forgot about you for the past couple movies too, so it's not that bad.
Yeah. That whole sequence was really interesting. It just
I thought it was weird.
like she's very pessimistic now, which I thought was kind of it made sense based on like what they're saying about her and like she's been she's an enemy of the state, so to speak. And now she's just like, you don't believe in that superhero stuff anymore, blah blah blah, which is very interesting and very backwards compared to her other belief. She's a very strong Captain America fan, so like now she's got like the
Yep.
exact opposite view, so it kind of makes her a little suspicious.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, she agrees to help them. She's like, "Oh, I've got some connections. I'll go help you find the scientist." And then randomly they go to some random bay, and they're like, he's in here." And there's like, "He's in this container." And they go into this container, and it's like got a secret door that leads to some fucking massive laboratory.
Yeah,
And I'm just like,
Dexter's lab in a freaking storage crate. Yeah.
I
pretty
know.
much.
And it's like some great scientist who's like fucking 28 or something. He's like, "Hey, I'm the guy, that like did the super serum pretty much." Yeah, and then there's a big fight scene on the outside that like what's her name? Yeah, Sharon
She's holding
Carter.
off a bunch of people, which maybe that explain. Maybe she did take the serum because I thought it was weird the first time I watched it. How is she taking on all of these like goons? But if she took the serum, that would explain why she's so good at like fighting. Guys.
Oh fuck, Ken, you've done figured
She
it
does
the
have some
fuck
pretty
out.
quick reflexes.
You figured it
Exactly.
the
Yeah,
fuck out.
it's nuts, dude. Who knows? I don't know. I thought it was weird, but
If that's
that would be the only thing that makes sense.
She's definitely pulling her punches though, if that's the case. Because I mean, she could easily have
yeah.
snapped a lot of those dudes into Slim Jims if she did take the serum.
I feel like
That's
that would
true.
be the case with a lot of the shit in the show.
Yeah.
Eh,
I feel
I don't
like
know. I feel
definitely
like if you're
Winter Soldier.
superpowered-
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, in the last episode, I was complaining how Bucky fell out of a plane, but I forgot he's a super soldier, so that maybe explains it. I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there. So people who
Right.
had a problem maybe with that, yeah, I retract my issue. I forgot about that. Anyway, she's like, "Oh, we gotta go," and he's like, "I made the serum." Then Carly took it from the power broker. And then they're like, "All right, cool." And then Baron Zemo's like, "Bang, bang," and then shoots the scientist. And he's like, "Why the fuck did you do that?" And he's like, "I don't know." Like,
Because
I
I
felt
hate
like it.
powered people.
yeah, is serum bad? And you're like, "Okay, cool." I mean, like, cool. I'm like, good. Like, no one else will make the fucking serum. That's like literally the only thing you can do to ensure that no one else makes a serum.
It's
like-
very consistent with his character. That's exactly
I
what I
like
would
that
expect
detail,
Zemo to
yeah.
do.
They're so chillax about it too afterwards. They're like running from other people like on the outside now. And Baron's like, "Oh, I just so happen to have a fucking like nice car in one of these crates here." And he just like gets a fucking
I thought he was gonna ditch him.
I thought so too, for sure. Like he left, and I thought he was just gonna getting whatever he found and was
Yup.
like peace out. But he came back surprisingly.
I'm
He
like,
came
"Great.
back, yeah.
Dude, one of these crates have a giant nut like is there another lab in one of these crates?"
I guess, dude. Who knows? There's just magical crates.
This fucking place is weird. It's definitely not a real fucking
One of
place,
them's
obviously.
actually, yeah.
But goddamn, one's a portal to Wakanda. Like, fucking the Bifrost actually takes you to that goddamn country, too.
There's the 9 realms, dude. Yeah. Step through this tunnel.
Take you to the goddamn lab. Anyways, he's like, "Hey, nerds, get in." They get in. And she's
But
like,
then Sharon pieces out. Like
she's like, "You gotta clear my name, sucker." And they're like, "All right, cool, we'll work on that." And
she goes somewhere else, and then she starts talking to some like other random person.
oh yeah,
right?
it's just another. It's like a chauffeur at a car, and she's like,
Which
"We
makes
got a
it seem
problem."
like she's connected.
Yeah, you're totally
Mm.
right. Ken, fucking, you figured it out, dude.
Weird. It's weird.
Anyways,
You
they're like,
cracked the code.
some shit with like, oh yeah, there was like some bit where like Carly's knows someone that's dying, I guess, and there's like a scene of her at their bedside, and she seems very close to her, and then she's like, "Oh, we need more supplies," and they're like walking around, and there's like, I guess, what's the abbreviation for that place again? The G something, GRC.
GRC.
Yeah, GRC.
Yep.
And there's like some big supply depot, and they're like looking at it and like, "All right, we're gonna rob this place." Like, "All right, bet." And they robbed the shit out of this place. And there was like a cut to like inside of the place, and there's a bunch of guards tied up and whatnot. And he's like, "Ah, you filthy scum!" You know, gotta make them seem bad and shit. And then they're leaving, and then it was like, they point out like, "Oh, Carly, you're not gonna take that car placed over there?" And she's like, "No, I'm not gonna drive that car. I'm gonna ride with you." And they start driving away, and there's a big boom, and there was a car bomb in there, and she killed some people with a car bomb. And then a frame later, the entire giant fucking building's in flames, which doesn't happen unless that building is like full of like gasoline or something.
Was there a bomb also inside of there? I thought it was unclear. I can't remember from the scene, but it seemed like part of the building blew up too. So I
yeah,
can't
the
remember.
whole building, like they're leaving, and like it's all in flames, and I'm just like, God damn, dude.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts. But you see from the other guy that she's with that he was very surprised that she did that.
He's
He
like,
was not. He
he was
was
like,
not for
what
that.
the fuck, dude?
It's like, bro.
Yeah, I know,
Seriously?
right? It's like that's kind of wild. He's like, "No," she's like, "We need to do it. They're bad. We need to make a statement. This is the only kind of answer that they'll understand." And like later in the episode, they're like, "Oh, it looks like there's more danger." And I'm like, "Really? Like, did you not think that was gonna fucking backfire? Terrorists doing terror? Like, goddamn! Like, you're a fucking idiot."
Idiot sandwich over here.
I know,
Jeez.
right? Like, oh my god. Like, oh, let me, you know, that'll help us. That'll crack down on security around here if we just set a fucking car bomb and murder a bunch of guards at this depot. Yeah, that'll decrease security at other depots to rob, you know, and to make sure everyone else lives a better, luxurious life. She's a
Right, yeah.
fucking idiot. That annoyed the shit out of me. I thought that was dumb as shit. Anyways, yeah, she kills random people, and John Walker is like, shows up at something there, and he's like, "Oh, help us out, people!" And they're like, "No, fuck you, John Walker. You're lame, Captain America." Ah, man. And Battlestar's like, "Hey, man, loyalty, you know, buys you a lot of love, whatever." And John Walker's like, "Amen, brother." And they pound it and they go about their business.
Excellent summary.
I love this abridged version. We should do more of it.
That's
should,
that's
yeah.
how it comes across as me. Just imagine they're fucking they're talking. It's like way
This
more
should be like the
clunky.
last time on Winter Soldier preview for the next episode. Our just abridged one right here.
It's just like so exhausted to be like, man, it's so clunky and bad. It's just not that fun to watch in certain scenes, you know? John Walker's a fucking doofus, dude. Every time I see him on screen, like, dude, this guy is such a big fucking doofus. Like, it's so
Kinda
funny.
is. Yeah,
He looks goof- I can't take him seriously.
Yeah, he's a goofy motherfucker. And then
does that get everything? I feel like we missed something.
there's the end we haven't gotten to yet, but I think
Yeah,
that's
where does
everything,
it
right?
end?
Oh,
I
they're
think
like,
that's all the major stuff.
okay, yeah. Sharon's like, "Hey, there was a girl that was really close to Carly. She died in Turkey or something, right?" I think.
No.
Where was it then?
Not Turkey. Crap. Crap. It's not Turkey, but I can't
They
remember
mentioned the
where.
Baltic Sea. I thought
Yeah.
it's somewhere there. Then there's like I think that's like their direction. They said they were heading. Anyways, and they're like, we need to head over that direction. And then they're walking in the street randomly. And then Bucky's like, I need to go for a walk. And they're like, okay, cool. We're going to go inside, hang out. And he's all right. And he looks on the ground. There's a little thing beeping. Picks it up. He looks around. He's like, oh, shit, someone's following me or something. And he finds another one. Looks around. He's like, I knew you'd be following me. And I had to look up who this character was. And apparently she was
too.
She was in Civil
Yeah.
Civil War, right?
Civil War.
Yeah, she was like
Black Panther's aide. Yeah.
yeah, she was King T'Challa's aide.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, like, wow, what a fucking grand return to see King T'Challa's aide. It's not like a guard or anything like that we've seen. Like, I don't know. It wasn't a major character, and I felt like they kind of.
But you knew who it was though. Like
It
where
was
they were
Wakanda.
Small
And I think
little thing. Yeah.
I think whether you recognized them or not, I think that was at least the point. Because I saw them, I was like, okay, obviously, the music, the dress that she's wearing and everything. Like I know what this is from, but for some reason I could not remember the character either. Like that specific character, I was like, was she really in the other movies? And then I looked it up too. I was like, wow, she was. It was not very many scenes, so you just don't really remember it.
I think she's the one that threatened Black Widow.
She might be, yeah.
That was like her only scene.
Glad she had her 5 minutes. Anyways, yeah, she warned Bucky. He's like, hey, we want Baron. He's the one who killed the king. And he's like, nope, can't have him. And they're like, all right, 8 hours. He said, cool beans, and gave her thumbs up.
By the way, they're in Latvia, was the country.
Yeah.
Why does that matter, Ken? We never wanted that information. That has nothing to do with us.
We were talking about it, so I thought it was important.
Yeah, where Donya died. So that's where they're headed to next, Latvia.
Well, that's where they left off there. Sounds good. But I liked the episode for the most part. I liked it a lot more than episode 2. I know it may seem like I didn't enjoy it, but I'm a little fussy today. I won't lie. I'm a little fussy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean, overall, I would say the same. Actually, I enjoyed this one for the most part. I mean, I think I've just made myself a little bit like the episode more with my conspiracy theory about Sharon Carter, but it was a pretty decent episode. Like there wasn't anything that like super pulled me out for the most part, besides the fact of what we were talking about earlier with Sharon Carter. But other than that, it was pretty solid episode. So.
Yeah, I agree. It was pretty solid. We saw Baron Zemo, and I feel like that was a huge improvement for the show. And I'm excited for the next one. I'm excited to review it too. But should we get down to scores, gentlemen?
Yes. Who wants to start?
I will start. I will give this I'll be generous. I'll give it a 7. I'm going to be generous.
All right. What about you, Sly? What do you got?
I'll give it a 7.5.
Nice. All right, Ken?
It's a tough one. This one was pretty solid. I was actually also thinking 7. I think it's it does a good job of what it's trying to do, and that's where it's at. So I also give it a 7.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll go like 7 there. That was a pretty solid episode. It left me more positive than the last one for sure, and that's always a plus. But yeah, that's our official Foundry review score is a 7 for episode 3 of Power Broker. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe for some more reviews in the future for some more Marvel content. But we'll see you guys later on the next one. Bye-bye.
Peace. Bye.